I'm Vanessa, and welcome to the Crafty Gemini Show. I love being creative, whether in the kitchen, my sewing room, or my scrapbooking corner. I'm constantly coming up with new ways to express myself. We know how hard money is to come by in this economy, and trust me, I'm all about making sure every penny counts. So here's my invitation to you. Come join me on my mission to be creative on a budget. Hey, it's Vanessa from CraftyGemini.com. Today we're back in the Crafty Cocina cooking up a New Orleans favorite, Pecan Pralines. My husband's family's from New Orleans and he loves when his mama and his mommy make him his pecan candy. After I tried it for the first time, I found that it has a similar taste and texture to what we call dulce de leche in Latin America. So after going home and trying my hand at it, it turns out it tastes like I've been making it for years. If you're a health freak, this may not be the best dessert for you to try, but for those of you that love a good candy every once in a while, I suggest you check it out. So a quick run through of our ingredients. Here we have some milk, some vanilla, 1 cup of sugar, a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, some ground cinnamon, 1 stick of unsalted butter, make sure it's unsalted, and 1 bag of some good old southern pecans. In a medium saucepan, I've put in the stick of butter at medium to high heat, and now I'm going to wait until it melts. Our butter's all melted down. I'm going to put in the 1 cup of sugar, and the sweetened condensed milk as well. Pour it all in there. Oof, this is pure sugar, but it's going to be so yummy, I promise. We're still at medium-high heat here. Just want to give it a nice mix to combine all those ingredients. Now we're going to put in our vanilla, and I like to put in a teaspoon and then a little bit more. So there's a teaspoon, and I'll let it overflow a little bit, just like that. And then, with my ground cinnamon, I just like to eyeball it and put 4 or 5 dashes of that. Mix it all around. Now we're going to bring this to a light boil. The key with this candy is the continuous stirring. The entire time you have to make sure that you continue to move everything all the way around. If you let any part of this sauce mixture sit at the bottom, it's going to caramelize the sugar that's in it, and it's going to get crunchy and hard, and you're going to have big brown bits of burnt sugar rolling around in your sauce, and you don't want that. This is all about having a creamy consistency and texture. So as I'm waiting for this to come to a light boil, what I want to do now is add 1/3 of a cup of milk, and just mix that in there, okay? And this is basically it as far as the ingredients go. All we have to do at the end is to add the pecans. Now this is what's going to take some time. You have to continuously stir this at a medium-high heat, and this part can take about 20 minutes. If you have any helpers in your kitchen, you may want to ask them and switch off taking shifts stirring this around. So you can see we have a steady rolling bubble and boiling going on. That's what you want to have, but you want to make sure that you continue to stir this around continuously. Notice the way I'm stirring. I'm not just sticking to one side or doing it simple circles like this in the center. You want to make sure that you're scooping everything from around the sides, or else those areas that are standing still at the bottom of the burner are going to get burnt. Okay, so just continue to do that until you get the brown and the caramelization of the color, whatever it is that you like. We like ours a little browner, so we're going to keep going. The point of this part here where you're stirring and stirring is to make sure that any moisture, the water maybe in the butter and the milk that you put, that it all evaporates out, and you want the majority of your sauce just to be the sugar. That's what it's going to allow the candy, once we pour it out, to get nice and hard and crunchy. So just continue to do this until you get the nice caramel color that you want. So you see the color we have here. It's a lot more caramelized. And look at the consistency. When I move it, you kind of see that it separates. You can see the bottom of the pan if you move it just like that. So it's no longer that much of a liquid, okay? I'm going to want to turn off my heat, take it off the fire. And you see how it doesn't even stick to my spatula? It just slides. And it's not that runny. You see it takes a while for it to drop down, just like that. You see that? That's the consistency you want to go for, of a caramel texture, just like that. You don't want it to be too runny, okay? Now we've taken it off our heat, and we're going to add our pecans. I have about 6 ounces of pecans here, and since they're nice and big, what I want to do is just a rough chop with a nice big knife. Just roughly chop them down so you have smaller chunks. But you don't want it to be completely, into really, really small bits like that, because you still want to be able, when you bite into it, to have a chunk of pecans. So just a rough chop. Now that our heat is off, you can see the consistency of this nice creamy caramel sauce. I mean, this is going to be so yummy. So with the heat off, make sure it's not still boiling. I'm just going to pour in our pecans and just mix this all around so the pecans are evenly distributed throughout your sauce. Now that our pecans are mixed in, you want to get a cookie sheet and grease it down just with a little bit of butter, just so this stuff won't stick, or you can use parchment paper as well. I'm going to get a nice grip on my saucepan and just going to dump this out right onto my cookie sheet, my buttered down cookie sheet. Get all that goodness out of there. This stuff is going to be delicious, I promise. Make sure you comment on this tutorial, please, and let me know how yours turns out. Now with my same spatula here, I'm going to spread it down to a nice thin layer. Not too thin, but just so that it dries quicker and gets nice and hard for us. Spread it out just like that. You're going to let this sit for about 15 to 20 minutes until it's nice and hard. And then you're ready to cut it and eat it. 15 minutes have passed by, and as you can see when I tap this, it's no longer a sauce. It's nice and hard now. There's a bit missing here because my husband came by within the 15 minutes and yanked off a piece. But now the candy's ready to eat, so you can either break it off with your hand like this and pop it off like that, or you can just break it up into chunks and separate it like this. And now as I hand a piece to my cameraman and I enjoy some myself, this is so good. Here, Papa. Consider making this recipe at home and giving this yummy, yummy dessert to your loved ones.